Hello and welcome. We're picking up where we left off. Well, I was about to say picking up where we left off last time in Strategic Command WWI. But we're not picking up where we left off last time. Last time, we won. As the Central Powers. This time I think we're going to revisit it. It's been a while. As the Entente Powers. The other side, same campaign. We're not going to change up the campaign. There are different scenarios in here that we can play as. We're going to do the Call to Arms campaign, just sort of the generic one. The victory objectives for the Entente Powers is to get Germany surrendered, or the national morale drop below 0, or below 1%, which is when they surrender, if you don't occupy their capitals. The minor victory is neither side has won the major victory, and we hold London, Paris, Verdun, and Cairo. So you might notice from the description of the victory conditions there, the Entente side, at least a minor victory, is probably easier than the Essential Powers, which is what we did last time. As we start off the game controlling London, Paris, Verdun, and Cairo. It sounds like it's easy enough, right? So we start in the state of winning, although historically Verdun would fall to the Central Powers and have to be retaken. And historically, you would argue, I think, that it was the Entente major victory, so Germany did end up surrendering. Did put forth the ceasefire at the end of the war, because they arguably dropped below 1%. Obviously, in the last one, we were able to achieve the major victories as the Central Powers by capitulating 2 of the following, which is France, Russia, and the UK. In the last run, we capitulated France and Russia as the Central Powers, both by driving their percentages below 1%. So we technically never achieved the Central Powers minor victory, other than by the fact that France surrendering, I think, technically gives us control of Paris. Which is what we would have needed to win the minor victory at that point. Although, had France continued to resist, we were pretty close to getting to Paris, probably would have taken it. So, arguably this should be the easier side. We should, at least at my skill level, probably be able to succeed. The question will be, can we succeed faster on the Entente side? If you're watching this for the first time, I'm going to be streaming this live to Twitch under the username Willcall, and then recording it locally for upload to YouTube under the username Willcall100. The Twitch VODs do stay up for 14 days. Will be recorded about 2 to 6 days ahead. So if you can't wait for the next part, and you're watching on YouTube, you can always hop over to the Twitch channel and watch it there. Eventually it's all going to be uploaded into one playlist on YouTube. So let's get into the game. We're going to do Call to Arms, as we said, as not the Central Powers. Central Powers is what we did last time, but as the Entente. And yeah, I think it's easier on this side, although maybe not by a lot. It is presumably a reasonably balanced scenario. Basically going to do the default settings with national colors and 3D units off. I do happen to like the NATO counters in this game. And of course, if you remember the last time we played this, the Central Powers get a deployment phase where Germany gets to pick where it wants to place a few of its units. And then following that deployment phase, they actually get the first turn. They start with the initiative here. Germany declares war on Belgium, so that during the first turn they're going to declare war on Belgium, which causes the UK to join the Entente. Obviously waiting for the Central Powers to do their first turn. They're debating their fleet movement, apparently. There goes the advance into Belgium. Liege is under attack, and the garrison falls. Pretty standard results, I think, from the AI there. They are also attacking Brussels. We likely won't be able to get enough forces in place to save the capital, Brussels, but we should be able to keep Belgium in the fight if everything goes according to plan. And we got the fight for Belgrade. We'll see if the garrison of Belgrade can hold out. The garrison of Belgrade actually retreats from Belgrade. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to fight to the last in the city, but we'll see. See if they got an action place to actually occupy the location. Luxembourg surrenders, so this is the end of the turn. Germany gets plunder from Luxembourg surrendering. The Goeben evades its pursuers in the Mediterranean. So one of the merchantmen raiders escapes. Russian mobilization continues. Austro-Hungarian mobilization continues. Increase army structure in the southwest. UK starts sending supplies to Russia. Liege detachment destroyed. Okay. On Romania, bringing Romania into the war. The Romanians may be tempted to enter the war on our side if we can advance into Austria-Hungary. Capturing Kakrau, Lemberg, and Premisil will encourage the Romanians to pursue its ambitions in Transylvania. Also consider using diplomacy to move Romania towards the Entente. Be bold and the war can be won, says Grand Duke Nicholas, Supreme Commander of the Russian forces. Aiding Serbia. Our Serbian ally, Serbia is not a wealthy country, but has an experienced army that, with our assistance, should be able to significantly tie up significant enemy forces. It is therefore recommended we consider sending supplies by sea to the Serbs. To do this, click on war maps and do the convert route stuff. And click on the French flag, and you can adjust the number of military production points, MPPs, being sent by sea to the Serbians. And this is the Russian version. Aiding Serbia had entered the war to aid Serbia and stand by assault aggression. It is vital we assist them as much as we can. Top priority there is to attack Austria-Hungary, defeating the forces and capturing territory. They should also consider sending supplies to Serbia via Romania. And this is immediate priorities, strategic advice for the British. Our immediate priorities. Now that we're at war, our top priority must be assist the French in defending their homeland from invasion. At the same time, the Royal Navy can be launched to launch a blockade to cut off the German forces or German food imports from many neutrals. This will reduce the national morale, but be warned, it will annoy the US from time to time. To institute the blockade, place naval units on merchant ship icons that appear on the map in highlighted locations. Note, the more ships you use, the better. The northern blockade, from Scapa Flow to Norway, will be a more effective location. Naval mines. We can lay naval mines at strategic locations to damage enemy shipping. These can be laid 2 per turn by destroyers and torpedo boats. As they can sink neutral shipping, it's best not to place them on or adjacent to convoy routes from neutral countries like Norway and Sweden. Doing so would likely trigger a negative diplomatic reaction. Lay minefield, or right-click the mine-laying unit, and do various things. A unit does not... if a unit does strike an enemy minefield, it loses 2 to 5 points of strength, since morale will reduce. So be aware that the enemy will be laying mines too, as we made pretty good use of in our previous round. Secretary of State for War, Lord Kitchener. The initial units comprising the British Expeditionary Force, which is ready for service on the continent, are all set to be sailed to France. This expeditionary force consists of the experienced 1st and 2nd Corps and HQ unit commanded by Sir John French. Arrangements had been made to deploy the Corps at Amiens, with Sir John French setting up his HQ in Rouen. Shipping these units to France will cost 50 MPP. Would you like to send the British Expeditionary Force to France, or would you rather have it deploy in the UK? And we should presumably send it to France. Shipping the BFF to France will normally be the best thing to do, as the enemy invasion cannot be allowed to defeat the French like it did in the war of 1870 into 1871. However, if you have other plans for the British Expeditionary Force, then deploying them in UK may make sense. These units can then promptly ship to Egypt, or wherever else their services could prove useful. We are going to deploy these experienced corps to France. Also, the French have got some forces that we can deploy. We will deploy them in front of Paris to block the enemy advance. And now it is our turn. Proper. Do you work here? No, WC does not work. I'm gonna use the air keys to move around that. Okay. So we got a lot of stuff going on. The garrison of Belgrade did abandon Belgrade, but Belgrade did not fall. So in a way, this is actually maybe ideal. It means we can go ahead and put a unit in Belgrade that is of a higher quality than the previous unit would have otherwise been. We are going to reinforce the damage attachment, which of course uses up almost all of Serbia's minor capacity for resources. And we're going to have everyone try to dig in as best as they can. Same with the Montenegro forces. Game didn't bring it up, but Montenegro does join the war for Serbia. With Serbia. Do you want to push up the... presumably we're in supply. Yeah. In command range. Question here is, do you want to push you forward? I'll leave you there for the moment. I'm gonna pull you up. I don't think we're gonna have that deep of a penetration. Push you up to there. Okay, so that's the Serbian front. Most of the forces are basically just digging into where they are. Although we did push a new unit into Belgrade that will have to shoot their way through. On the Russian front, we do have a fleet that's mostly going to stay in port. With the exception of... oh, we've already got a mine out as the Russians, do we? And the Russians only get one. Okay, so we can basically leave most of the Russian fleet in port for the moment. And we do pretty much want to counterattack where we can. Although, obviously, we need to be ready to tie down things. One thing, remembering from last time, if we take any Galatian city over here... I think it's Galatia. Any of the cities over here, this side of the mountain range. That'll cause a crisis, refugee crisis in Austria-Hungary. We do want to trigger that fairly early. And ideally, we want to occupy, as it says, Galatian oil fields. So this also causes a hunger debuff to Austro-Hungarian national morale. So basically, we want to drive these two units back and or off if we can. 1 to 3 in prepared attack. Got 1 to 2, which isn't ideal. Take it. 1 to 1 there. Okay. Enemy withdrew, which works for me. Yes, we are basically going to put most of our effort into trying to get 2 units destroyed. this last one's going to hold out for the turn. Okay, we can get this one in to do finish the job. And now the struggle is I got no one to occupy the oil fields. Okay, so they'll probably put someone back in the oil fields. We'll just have to live with that. Although we're going to cause the refugee crisis, and whoever will be in the oil fields will not be dug in, presumably. I'm going to do a slow withdrawal from Western Poland. Yeah, can't take the hex with a force march. Okay. I just want these guys to dig in. Although that's a normal town, so that's actually a bad place for you to be specifically, because you can't dig in. You might be able to inherit dig-ins if someone else has done the trench digging for it. Although I don't necessarily expect them to be attacking me across out of the swamp there. So yeah, that's still marsh. Oh, and we have planes here. I could probably run a recon run with the plane. That's not what we want. We probably want to take damage when we do recon run on the city. Yeah, we might have technically done a little bit more damage there had I recon run. Although we only had a range down to there, right? We didn't have a range to there, so we didn't actually have a range to hit the city. Fair enough. Maybe an argument to pull the ores out of Helsinki. Yeah, we'll hold it in case I need them for the Ottoman front. But I could technically pull cores out of Helsinki, Petrograd if we needed them. But yeah, that's the initial attack here in the Russians sector. Taking one of the two early objectives we want. Once we've got both of those objectives, I'm going to try to form a cohesive battle line, and then probably hope for winter to arrive. So we've got time for full mobilization. Here on the French front, you're badly damaged, so I either need to replace you in the battle line, or I need to recover you. You do not have enough capacity, well, we don't have enough MPP to recover you in place. So we're going to have to swap someone else in. You can, in theory, get there. Okay, let's pull you back. How many action points is it to get there? 4. I'd like to have a couple left so we can dig a trench. Does that let me dig a trench? Yes. There's Verdun Fortress. We'd like to keep that bit intact. Force march you up there so we can get coverage on the mine. Okay, get you up to Rem. Keeping out of that city. I'll put you on. Okay. That's a roughly stable front line. Push you forward, dig you in. We try to recover the garrison here as much as we can. So there's all the British MPPs. Oh, I suppose the colors still say red and blue. Okay. I'm looking at the red lines. I'm like, aren't those my shipping lines? Why did they show hostile? Because it's not red is hostile, blue is friendly. It's red is Central Powers, blue is Entente Powers. And that makes a little bit more sense than I'm thinking about it that way. Okay. Where's the French fleet? There's a French destroyer. The French will mine up the channel, so the Central Power warships can't simply just come down the channel. Oh, we've got a seaplane carrier here for the French. We do have a partisan spot there. I'm going to move the garrison to go occupy that spot. It's a French battleship. Let's get it to a French port. I'm going to mix up French and British ships here. Let's pull the damaged dreadnought back. This is a little risky, but we're going to take it. There we go. Take a swing at the destroyer. Again, if we get rid of the entirety of their destroyers, that'll be good. Got one sub here. Can't push it through the Dardanelles. So really this sub's just here for reconnaissance reasons. It's also a damaged sub, so I should probably be getting it to port. Preparations for it to be repaired. Same here, here's a British one. Let's shoot another Alexandria ports. And of course, we don't start with very many MPPs, so gotta be a little conservative here. You're gonna get quite a few in the upcoming turns. I'm not too worried about the enemy coming up the channel. So we're going to pull most of our channel British fleet around to join the blockade up here. Start contemplating where we're going to put our blockade. And I do want to put in a minefield here to protect our blockading forces. Okay, let's do something like that. Okay, not perfect. I'd like to have another mine out in front, but a decent start there. And we've basically got the full close blockade in, so that'll do pretty significant damage to the German national morale. Okay. We've already got the mine out for Russians. This is, I think, the point in the turn where we do research, but we don't actually have enough for research. British have got 2 left. The French have got 30 left. The Italians, the Italians are in the war. The Serbians have 3. The Italians also don't think of enough war support yet to start funding anything. The Russians are in, and they've got some stuff under research, but we don't have enough to pick anything else. Same sort of thing with the British, right? So we got spying, logistics, good stuff. Industry there. America has 75. Probably want to get the industry tech going on America. Let's go into the war maps. We're going to specifically screw around with the convoys a bit. So the British Empire supplies and... Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. Don't know how I clicked through the thing, but I did. British Empire supplies coming in. We got Canadian supplies coming in. We got supplies going to Russia, which we do want to max out. We have that supply, Libya, Algeria. Oh. Why am I not seeing the Serbian? Oh no, that's Russian supplies to Serbia. This is UK supplies to Russia, which we do want to max out. And then French supplies to Serbia, we want to max out. American supplies to the UK, I actually don't want right now. We want America to keep all its supplies so it can focus on getting its industry going. They're also only providing 10 MVP right now, so take down the 0. America keep its supplies and get its tech and industry going quicker. Yeah, we can see all the routes there. Oh, Libya is mobilized. Italy is not. So no supplies are going. Italy. Supplies are marking that. Supplies are moving. Okay. And purchase-wise, yeah, we can't purchase anything. USA is 6% of the war. Serbia's on. Russia is 100%. Serbia's 100%. We could grab another HQ and extra detachments for Montenegro, but we had resources. We could. So really, the only one's got resources left is France. Yeah. Although the unit we'd want to heal is not, because we had to move it off the front lines, is not healable for the turn. So I think that is where we're going to leave it for the turn, and we're going to advance some time. Yeah. Do you really want to end this turn? 31 minutes into the video for the first turn? Yes. Arrival of thousands of refugees from Galicia spreads fear throughout Austria-Hungary. So we did trigger the first of the bad events for the Austro-Hungarians. Prime Minister, given the likelihood of war with the Ottoman Empire, steps needs to be taken to ensure that we do not lose access to our oil supplies coming from the Abadan oil fields near Basara. A plan has been proposed whereby the Indian army will send a force to seize Basara and the Abadan oil fields the moment the war breaks out with the Ottomans. Preparing such a force will cost us 100 MPPs at 50 MPP a turn for 2 turns. Would you like the Indian army to prepare this force to seize Basara? Historically speaking, Indian forces landed and captured Basara in a swift campaign in 1914, securing the oil fields and the city. It would be a mistake not to say yes to doing this, as it opens up a potential for a new front against the Ottomans, and hopefully it will distract some of their forces from attacking our positions in Egypt. We are going to go ahead and say yes here, even though it's going to stretch the already thin British MPP. First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill. To increase the size of our naval forces and ensure superiority over Germany, it is recommended that we seize the Ottoman ships currently being built in Britain and add them to the Royal Navy. If you agree, the Royal Navy will seize the dreadnought, Sultan Osman I, renaming it the Agincourt. She should then be ready for service in September. Would you like to seize the Sultan Osman I and deploy it as part of the Royal Navy? Yes. Or would you rather deliver the Sultan Osman I to the Ottoman Navy? No. Saying yes is undoubtedly annoy the Ottomans, swinging them 10-15% towards the Central Powers. However, doing so would not only add to our strength, but also save us from ever having to face the ship in battle at a later date. On the other hand, delivering the Sultan Osman will swing the Ottomans towards the Entente, potentially significantly delaying conflict with them. Unfortunately, do so would upset the Russians due to the impact that delivering this dreadnought would have on the balance of power in the Black Sea. This would reduce Russia's national morale by 2,000 points. We're going to say yes because we don't want the Russian national morale to go down. As much as I probably would appreciate actually sinking another Ottoman fleet in the future. The Ottomans are outraged at the British seizure of the Sultan Osman I. British expeditionary forces deploy in France. Belgian detachment deploys. Russian mobilization continues. Königsberg Landsturm mobilized. Central Power Raiders disrupt the France-Serbia convoy. So they're currently raiding the convoy route. That's maybe an argument to turn the route off so that we don't have future impacts to the route. Taunt naval units block imports to Germany in the North Sea. Fear of German raiders upsets the trade from the British Empire. So we're currently getting 120 MPPs as the British because we're sending 55 to Russia, sending 50 to the BEF, or shipping the BEF, 50 mobilizing the BEF. We'll also be paying 50 to do the thing at Basara. Although that might not kick in until the Basara thing happens. Not sure. France. We're sending to Serbia. We're mobilizing, so we're only getting 167 there. Of the stuff... Oh, wait. As the stuff we were sending to Serbia, we only lost 3. So definitely don't mind losing that much. Providing care for the refugees increasing the Austro-Hungarian national morale. So they did provide the supplies to the national morale. That should lower national MPPs for Austro-Hungarians for a bit. Well, for 1 turn. I just lost my recon bomber. Here goes the Brussels garrison. Of course, they occupy the Brussels. Didn't have one of our cores destroyed. And Serbia. If we get enough MPP as Serbia, we will probably try to replace that. Germany celebrates the capture of Brussels. Belgium moves its government to Antwerp. Ottomans are impressed by the increased German support. Ottomans welcome the arrival of Goeben at Constantinople. French mobilization continues. German mobilization continues. Austro-Hungarian mobilization continues. Foreign Minister reports diplomatic success. Netherlands move towards Central Powers. Okay. Entente naval units blockade imports to Germany in the North Sea. So that should be a decent amount of national morale hit to the Germans. First group recon bombers destroyed. First corps destroyed. One of the Serbian army corps is destroyed. And a bunch of events. Unrestricted naval warfare. First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill. Be advised the enemy may decide to use unrestricted naval warfare against our convoy raiders, bringing supplies to the UK. By placing naval units on hexes marked with the merchant ship flying the British flag, they could shut down our convoy routes, even if only temporarily. This could cause a dramatic impact to our income. It is therefore strongly recommended that we maintain naval forces available to attack any enemy naval units operating in these areas. Unfortunately, the enemy's use of unrestricted naval warfare could annoy the US government, and in the long run could lead to the US joining the Entente. Secretary of State for War, Lord Kitchener. The regular army is too small to fight a long war on the continent. It can only make a small contribution to the war. Huge number of recruits are coming forward to enlist, and by the summer and autumn of 1915, our drill sergeants should have been able to turn these raw recruits into 4 corps ready for service in France. This will cost 600 MPPs at 40 MPPs a turn for 15 armies. Would you like to authorize the formation of a new army? Thousands of able-bodied men are enlisting daily at recruiting stations all over the country, willing to fight for king and country. With so many men coming forward to serve our army, serve our country, it is time in its time of need. It'd be foolish not to say yes to forming these men into Kitchener's new army. And we will do a yes here. 600 MPPs is basically a bargain for 4 corps. Commander-in-Chief, Serbian Army, General Putnik. Tsar Nicholas II of Russia has suggested that we provide our ally Montenegro with a headquarters unit under General Jakovic. This should provide the Montenegrin armed forces with the ability to hold out much longer against the enemy and will help maintain our link to the sea and assistance from allies. Would you like to send Jakovic to serve as the Montenegro HQ? Yes, or deploy him as the second Serbian HQ? No. And then historically, oh, it doesn't give us a historical choice here. We're just gonna do yes. And now it's around to us. Okay, so is everything going according to plan? No. Is everything going completely horribly. Also, no. Let's hopefully try to get things to improve. Serbian front. Serbia's got 93 MPP. Does also have a destroyed core. But I don't think we're in a position to replace that core right now. Yeah, it would cost 135. We don't have that much. And the lines, of course, must be shorn up. I'm going to give up control of that city because I don't think we're going to be able to hold it. Pull back behind the river. Dig in there. You take up positions there. Dig in there. And these units are already dug in, so it just comes down to which ones do I want to try to recover. Or do I want to get the Serbians, teach the Serbians how to dig? Let's get them their first trenchment going. It's going to cost them 50. And that leaves us 30 for reinforcements. 43 for reinforcements. We'll reinforce the Belgrade garrison. And the Serbian garrison. I can get that one as well. Okay. So that's Serbia there. Okay, so we don't know where that destroyer went. I'm not going to hang around out here too much because we risk getting got. Because there are enough ships in here to be a little bit of an issue, at least until we get Italy into the war. So that's the Serbian front. Don't have time to repair the ships. I could push the cruisers up, I suppose, but no, I think we want to hold off until we get the ships repaired. I don't happen to know how to send... Because this is the first time I've been playing with any aircraft carrier. Let's reinforce the carrier. Let's reinforce the aircraft. Okay. How do I tell the aircraft I want the aircraft to do a light? I'll have to look that up at some point. Not super important. I'd mostly be trying to see if we had range to sort of recon in the Adriatic. Jordan dug in, you got a 2-4. Let's take the 4, try to get that encircled. Can. Okay. It's not ideal. I can work with that. Oh, I was expecting to be able to put some in the swamp. Which I'd done that differently. I could have put some in the swamp. Okay. Worst case... Actually, we'll move there. I don't think that guy's going to be able to really do much of a problem there. We got him encircled. He'll have supply issues going forward. And then we can attack from all sides. That one's actually going to be the most concerning. Presumably the Germans are going to try to break into their encircled guy there. Reinforcing, probably reinforcing the guy we've got on the front line here is going to be priority. You dug in, you are dug in. Okay. And then we can try to reinforce you, get you operational. We've actually got enough reinforcements, so that's good. Okay, so the French should probably invest their small amount of MPP, what's left, into learning how to dig themselves. We can go ahead and get the next line. No, that was the wrong move, game. Third click. Third click is what I wanted. If you'd already started moving, it's the second click. You re-click it. Okay, that wasn't what I wanted. We just got to destroy it in the wrong spot. It'll be fine. And it's kind of in the way of where I want to put the mine. I wanted to put the mine where it is now. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay. Moving our fleet north. And of course, it was on cruise, so it gets one move and goes as far as you send it. Which is a little annoying when you moved it to the wrong thing. Yes. Also moved it to only one hex. It's like, Yeah, so we're going to put most of the old battle fleet on this back line. Worst case scenario, we'll find the German subs. Okay, what do I want to do with the British MPP? Research purposes. Then, to stop partisan activity, we want you... Technically, you can be there, but that'll work. And we'll have a bunch of partisan activity there, but we've got to wait until the Italians are in the war for that to matter. Okay, so... Actually, I'll hold off a bit on the British. Here's an undo function for the infantry. Can we get around behind the Germans here? I don't want to be taking 3-to-1s. Yes, so here we can definitely get behind them. Not expecting there to be Russians there. Oh, it got mauled. Oh dear. That hurt a little bit more than I was hoping. I was expecting to see, like, Russians here. To be fair, that is why we sent the Cav first, because the Cav had the line of sight so they could see things. I probably should have moved it there. Moved it one less hex. Okay, so that's the oil field, which we want to hold. Keep you as a reserve unit around here. Same with the Cav, although we will have the Cav dig on the oil field for the moment. That's the Eastern Front, although I can rail in the reserves in the Far East, which I think at this point need to go north. I think we've secured the objectives we want in the south. Although I see a couple of opportunities here to encircle troops in the north, which I'm going to attempt to do. We could slow walk these guys and save some MPP, but we're not going to do that. Are you dug in? No. So dig in. We could technically attack the encircled one. I want to see how the Germans actually respond to being encircled. The garrisons can't reinforce above 5. Russian research. We do want to get trench warfare going on them. They are the most expensive to get trench warfare going on. Sadly, I don't got enough for infantry or artillery weapons. We haven't actually lost anything as the Soviet or as the Russians yet, so might just let's heavily invest. Let's actually grab 2 entrench Russia. Oh, British also doesn't have enough to pick up either artillery or infantry. Well, we'll pick up 2 entrench for them. Mirror's up to 89. Okay. I think that's what we're gonna do. Oh, I will get this French ship into port. We're Italy safe. So we've got the blockade going. Not sure if that's going to be visibly damaging the German national morale yet. Yeah, they're getting enough bonuses from various things that they're still above 100. Although I think that is already doing damage to them. So yeah, let's cycle the turn here. We'll see how the Central Powers handle the new state of affairs. We got a couple of units encircled. We'll see how they respond to those encircled units. I don't have any vulnerable aircraft again to lose, so we probably won't lose any aircraft. Actually, we'll pull you all the way back to Paris. That way you'll be safer, and Paris will be safe, more importantly. But yeah, I think we'll be able to start trading and destroying that one, and we've otherwise got the Germans contained, as long as we can handle the attrition on the Western Front. And we've got a... okay, maybe not a perfect battle line, and we're almost certainly going to lose that cavalry. That cavalry corps, the Cossack unit is probably screwed. Although it's got 1 left, so there's a small chance that if it gets attacked, it'll just run away. It's in open territory, so it might. Yeah. Cycle the turn. Let's see how events play out. The loss of grain from Galatia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary has hunger issues. Russian morale is boosted by the capture of the Galatian oil fields. Decision. Commander-in-Chief, General Joffre. Given the threat facing our channel ports, the Navy has offered to provide a unit of Marines to help defend Boulogne. This unit of Fusilier Marines would not be very powerful, but may be able to hold the area long enough to delay the enemy's advance. Mobilizing the Fusilier Marines will cost 50 MPP. Would you like to approve the Navy's offer to deploy Marines at the location? In the crisis of 1914, when the Germans threatened the Channel ports, France deployed its Fusilier Marines to Belgium in an effort to stem the enemy's advance. They fought against overwhelming odds alongside the Belgians, particularly in the defense of Luxembourg, and despite heavy casualties, they managed to hold the town and halt German advances in this area. In this case, the Marines are 250 MPP, so we're going to get like a half-strength one for 50, so it's cost-effective to take this choice. We'll pay the 50 for that. Almost to defend the north coast. Oh, it's not even half-strength, it's 8. Oh, that's definitely for 50. France mobilization continues. Russian mobilization continues, although we're getting less and less as time goes on. German mobilization continues. Ruhr-Landsturm mobilizes. We got hit with rough seas, okay. Japan declares war on the Central Powers. Thousands of recruits come forward to enlist in Kitchener's new army. New Zealand sends expeditionary force to siege German Samoa. Scientists report progress in industrial tech. France is 35% of the way to industrial tech 1. 191 MPP for UK and miners. France is up at 196. Serbia and miners are up to 94. Russia's up to 261. Another 14 for USA. No interdiction on the supplies going to Serbia. We did lose that town because I abandoned the garrison of it. Once I realized we'd reduced it down to 1 hit point or one stat point left, it was gonna go on the next turn. That was the expectation. Okay, most of the units that didn't attack appear to be digging in. Kind of what we're expecting. Ninth Corps suffers attritional losses. Loss of grain from Galicia leads to hunger in Austria-Hungary. Mobilization continues. Taunt naval units north of Scotland blockade imports to Germany. Taunt naval units blockade imports to Germany through the North Sea. Kuban Cossack cavalry destroyed. Sabak detachment destroyed. We lost a town, and everything else is reasonable. Importance of diplomacy. Both Norway and Sweden provide Germany with raw materials vital to the war effort. The most efficient way to stop this would be to use diplomacy to pressure them both to stop trading with Germany. Enough diplomatic pressure, the Norwegian government will even start providing us with these raw materials instead. This would boost our income and war effort at the expense of Germany's without even having to fire a shot. Political isolation in Germany would also lower the national morale and ultimately help us win the war. Something we will do. We got tech we need to do first. Tech is going to be the priority over diplomacy. Secretary of State for War, Lord Kitchener. The Indian Army can quickly make available 2 corps, one of infantry and one of cavalry for service in France as an Indian expeditionary force. The infantry are nearly ready to sail, though the cavalry will take a few months more to arrive. Would you like this Indian expeditionary force to sail directly to Marseille, in the south of France, where they will start arriving at the end of September? Or would you rather have them disembark slightly earlier in Egypt? 4 Indian divisions, 2 of infantry and 2 of cavalry, were sent to Europe to assist in the defense of France and Belgium in 1914. In the autumn of 1915, the infantry were sent to Mesopotamia, though the cavalry remained on the Western Front, taking part in the offensives of the Somme in 1916 and Cambria in 1917. For the moment, I think we've actually got a secure enough situation in France. I'm going to press no here. I want more forces in the Middle East for future things. Commander-in-Chief, General Joffre. The commander of our 20th Corps, Lieutenant General Ferdinand Foch, is an outstanding officer of merit who would like a suitable candidate to lead our forces in the battles to come. Providing him with the necessary logistical support so that he can take to the field will cost us 200 MPPs at 50 MPPs a turn for 4 turns. Would you provide him with a field command at Troyes, southeast of Paris? One of the more successful French generals during the war, Foch was ultimate to become Supreme Commander of all Entente forces on the Western Front in 1918. It is strongly recommended to say yes to this, as deploying an extra HQ will improve the fighting abilities of those units that come under his command. We will do yes here. The 3rd Corps and the 1st Cavalry Corps are deploying at Portsmouth. We got a corps for Montenegro. Although sadly can't immediately go on the offensive with that. I think this is a good place to put a part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. I think from a national morale standpoint, we really haven't started doing anything to... Well, the Germans are still above 100%. They're at 101%, although they are down from their high of 102% last turn. Austria-Hungary is down at 96, and the Ottomans have not joined the war. Most of the Entente forces are up in the high 90s, if not up at 100. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, there'll be another part up tomorrow. We're going to take a short break here if you're watching on Twitch, so that I have some time to sip some tea and stretch the legs, as we've been playing for a little over an hour at this point. And then we will continue where we left off. Organizing the defense of Serbia and the attack of the Russian forces to try to relieve some pressure from the Serbians. Although at this point we may be at the point where we're going to start really focusing more on digging in rather than attacking. It is September. It will not be long until winter is here. And winter will be the time for research. Also, the Ottomans are not going to stay out of the war for very long, so we need to have forces ready to respond to the Ottomans. Although we got an encircled guy there, got an encircled guy there. That one suffered attrition. This one is technically on a town, so he's getting some supplies from the town, which is why it did not suffer attrition this turn. Although he's in the unfortunate predicament of his supply lines are probably, well, they're cut obviously, but he can't put a trench in all the directions, so he's going to have a hard time trying to defend himself. Yeah, we've already got 2-2 on him, and his supplies are going to get worse. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, part tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, this is where I'm going to put the part break in. Until next time, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.